Right. Good evening. Today we are doing the quality management chapter, that is chapter 8 of PMBOK guide. Quality management, as you know, it is not only an important subject from the project management point of view, but it is otherwise a very important topic, and people are certified in various quality certifications. There are a lot of work going on in quality in everything, in operations, in every kind of business. We need to have this quality thing looked into. And naturally, whatever the quality procedures being followed in an organization, they are inherited down to all the departments, and each and everything has to be according to that quality. And you understand that projects are also part of an organization. So from that perspective, whatever quality standards an organization is following, that impacts the projects as well. That is one view of the thing. The other is whether your organization is following some quality standards or not. Project itself demands certain kind of quality in its product and its work. Therefore, quality management, even from the specifically project perspective, is as well very important. But generally, the mechanism of quality remains almost the same as it is anywhere else. Let me give you a little basic about quality, which is normally not really very well understood by most of the people, and that is quality is about two things. One is how well you are producing what you are producing, your deliverable. No matter we are talking about projects or operations, I am generally talking about quality. Quality is about the product and also about the process through which that product comes out. You will vote for it that a good quality product can only be produced by good quality process. The work should be perfect, as if the product can be correct. So as far as the correctness of the product is concerned, that can only be checked when that product has been produced and the process has completed. You cannot check the product while it is being produced. So as far as the deliverable is concerned, the product is concerned, it is inspected only after it is produced. And this process of inspecting and checking what has been produced, the correctness of that is done through quality control. Quality control is a process responsible for checking and inspecting the physical deliverable and verifying if it is according to the required quality standards. Now, if you only check the quality of the product and you do not bother about the process, the work which was carried out to produce this product, then you are leaving something out. That was something which was important. If you have a faulty product, you will not be able to see and know how and why it got faulty. And you would only be checking the product and rejecting and accepting whatever during the inspections, but you are never going to hunt down the reason and find why and where the things are going wrong and how to correct them. So while the product is being produced, while the project is being carried out, and some work is being done during execution, the activities are happening, that is the time somebody has to have a very close watch on everything which is happening. All the activities, when they are being executed, you have to have a very close watch on each and everything and see whether whatever is happening is correct or not. Again, checking the ongoing work or processes according to some quality standard is called audit. This is audit. You carry out audits during execution. and this process is called quality assurance. Now, quality assurance is an independent process by itself. As soon as project starts, the work starts, processes come into motion, quality assurance job starts. Whether it has any feedback about anything going wrong or not, the job of quality assurance is to keep a watch on all the processes, on all the work, on all the activities, and keep seeing if they are correct. Keep auditing them throughout their execution, and at times you will find some faults with the processes. So wherever you find a fault, you are supposed to correct it through process improvement. So you will improve the process as soon as your audit has caught a process not performing according to the standard. It has to be improved. And while you try to improve it, yes please?
Nothing, sir. It was by mistake.
Okay. So while you are trying to improve the quality of the process, actually you are serving to improve the product. Although you are not physically checking the product at this stage at all, but because you are improving the processes, the chances that the ultimate product will have any faults are considerably reduced. So quality assurance is done through audits. It is done during execution while the process or the work or activity is being executed or in process. And quality control only happens in monitoring and control. It inspects and checks the ultimate product, and by ultimate product I do not really mean the end product. I mean anything coming out of any process is a product. May it be a part of the product, it may be something very small, but any output coming out of any process or activity is the product, and that will have to be quality controlled. And while that process was happening, we were quality assuring it. And when that process finished, any process, we will verify that deliverable or the product or the output of that. So doing all this, planning for whole of the quality assurance mechanism, whole of the quality control mechanism, looking at the policies of the organization, the quality they are following, this all has to be encapsulated into a quality management plan, and that is our very first process in planning, that is plan quality management. So plan quality management provides us a complete guideline for how to do the quality assurance and how to do the quality control, and also the details when to do them, when the audits will be carried out, when the uh, inspections will be carried out, who will be responsible for doing what, any schedule of this quality, if there are any internal or external auditors or inspectors coming down to check something, that is also to be included. So everything about quality will be planned in the quality management plan. And in the quality management plan, it is not only the quality management plan, but there is yet another plan which is prepared in parallel, and that is the process improvement plan. That outlines how anything going wrong in the process, mean anything which is caught during the quality assurance process through some audit, if there is something wrong and you need to correct it, how to correct the process, how to improve and enhance the process, and that is called process improvement plan. So there are two plans. One is the quality management plan, which includes all the details about how to do the quality assurance and quality control. And the other is the process improvement plan. Whenever some process has got a problem, how to improve it, the guidelines are provided in the process improvement plan. And these are the three processes which are going to be continuously working. Quality assurance will be in execution, as I said. Quality control will be in monitoring and control. So we have just three processes: plan quality management, perform quality assurance, and control quality. And I hope you now understand what each one of these does. Am I clear about it? Ji, na?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So if this preview is okay with you and you agree with it, that means you probably have the right concept. And uh, I know of many people who are confused about quality all the time. They think quality control, the thing which I explained as quality assurance, they call it quality control. And the thing which I explained about quality control, they say it is quality assurance. This is absolutely incorrect. Quality assurance is auditing. It is done during the job is being done, during execution, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the end product or any output. It does not check the outputs. Quality assurance is not responsible for checking the outputs. Quality control exclusively looks at the outputs and inspects them and pass or fail them. If something passes, that is verified from quality control. Anyways, so the quality management plan, the project quality management includes the processes and activities of performing organization that determine quality policies, objectives, responsibilities, so that the project will satisfy the needs for which it was undertaken. So you will look at what is the purpose of the project, and remaining within the purpose of the project, you establish the quality standards for that, and you outline those policies, procedures to implement within the project context. The organization's quality management system can also be an input into it, but naturally you are looking at the things from the project context here, and they will be used as appropriate. It may not apply 100% on the project, because maybe all of the quality management system of the organization does not, really address the whole project. So whatever portion addresses the project, in alignment with the project, that would be applied to the project. So by doing this, it supports continuous process improvement. So wherever there is something which can be enhanced or improved, that will be done. So these continuous improvement, process improvement activities are undertaken on behalf of the performing organization. Project quality management works to ensure that the project requirements, including the product requirements, are met and validated. Well, I would not go with the word validated, because this has now been changed. Validate something means, you read it as verified. Validate means that something which passes through the final test. Verified means that something which has been verified at this stage, but it has yet to go from final validation. So for all practical purposes, the word validated does not apply to quality, and specifically it is the quality control. Quality control deals with the verification of the product. And later on there is another inspection which is carried out by scope, and that is checking the product scope through which process? Scope. The process name is validate scope. It is also in monitoring and control. So when quality control clears a product, it is called a verified deliverable. This verified deliverable then goes to validate scope process, as if it can be finally accepted. It goes through the user acceptance in validate scope, and after it has been validated, it becomes an accepted deliverable. Now it is no more to be checked. It is just to be handed over to the customer ultimately. So after the validated deliverable or the accepted deliverable, there is no more work to be done. So these three processes I just talked about. Book definition, plan quality management is the process of identifying quality requirements and our standards for the project and its deliverables, and documented how the project will demonstrate compliance with quality requirements. You see, when it says standards for the project, that means the process of the project, the work of the project, the activities which are included in it. So there would be standards for auditing the project. And what does that mean? The processes of the project. And that would be done through quality assurance. And its deliverables. Deliverables, as I told you, is to be inspected by quality control and documenting how the project will demonstrate compliance with the quality requirements. Then is quality assurance itself. Perform quality assurance is the process of auditing. As I said before, audit is the work of quality assurance. Inspection is the work of quality control. Quality assurance, the process of auditing the quality requirements. Whatever these quality requirements, they were determined in the plan quality management, or when the scope was identified. We had identified all these requirements. We have outlined the mechanism to check it in plan quality management, and now those quality requirements are being audited and the results from quality control measurement to ensure the appropriate quality standard. Now what does that mean? When it says the results from quality control measurement, quality control is yet not happening. From where these quality control measurements are coming? Basically, this is something happening during the process. Ongoing process. Now, if you do not have any other inputs coming to you, how would you check the quality of the work? Okay, tell me, how do you check the quality of the work? Generally speaking, you are a supervisor, you have a team under you, they are doing their job. How do you check they are performing well or not? Are they going according to the quality requirements or not? Yes, please.
If they if they are following the exactly following the procedures defined to do it, or the
Wonderful.
you know.
That is a very, very right point. You see, we need to see how can you check something if you do not know yourself how it is supposed to be done. So you will see the very first thing is whatever the process is happening, should it happen as it is happening? That procedure of the process should be documented somewhere. It should be written down somewhere. If you find that people are doing something but there is no record how the process should be done and everybody is doing it in his or her own way, then there is a problem. We do not have documented processes. That means it will cause problems. So if you catch it at this stage and you say there are no documented processes, how can I check? Then that there is the point where you have to develop those documented processes. So again, at this point, we will turn to the process improvement plan, see how the documentation is done, how the processes are recorded, and record them. And then what? After you have recorded the processes, then you have to communicate these processes to all those who are working on them and train them and make them able to understand how this job is to be done exactly according to the documented process. Then you have to see whether they know what are the processes they have to follow. If, and for that naturally you may have to ask them questions or give them some quizzes or something. If you are confirmed that yes, these people know what to do, the next question is, are they really doing it? Are they just remembered all the processes but they're still doing as they wanted them to things to happen? So you have to physically see on ground, comparing the processes which are happening with the documents you have just prepared. And if everything is going according to that, then your quality assurance audit is pass. If it is not, if there is small little mistake somewhere, they are not following one odd point, probably you can instruct them and assure that they follow those steps from in future. Moreover, whatever the documented process is, you must understand that is never going to be the ultimate perfection. It could have been done even in a better manner, but because you did not know any better manner before, therefore you did not record and document that procedure. So as soon as you find some flaw with the documented process which could further be enhanced or improved, that is the point again you can consult the process improvement plan and you can enhance and improve that process. So this is the responsibility of quality assurance. So he is always on the lookout to find flaws and faults and how certain things can be improved. So the job of this quality assurance guy is most likely a hit and trial job. Although he can follow a procedure, he can say, okay, first thing I'll check if everything is documented. If it is not documented, I'll get it documented. Yes, I understand. He will have a procedure. But still, when he is hunting down the problems, he is blind. He is just doing hit and trial method, and maybe sometimes he gets to finds some bug and fixes them. Finds a problem and fixes that. But there are so many things which are happening in the process which may be overlooked, we may not come into your sight while the work is happening and will ultimately cause some problems with the deliverable. So you can never have a complete control over all the flaws of the process. Still, doing something is better than doing nothing, therefore you will perform your duty. Now I'll come over to the other thing which I just mentioned, quality control measurement. We do understand while I'm doing the quality assurance here, somebody is doing the quality control when the deliverable gets out of the process. When my process will complete, some deliverable will be sent out and that will be checked by quality control. Quality control is a very good measure to check that to indicate if there is something wrong going on. You see, the product which is being produced is consistently faulty and this is being rejected by quality control. Then quality control, why can't it communicate with the quality assurance people and tell them, well, we are having this kind of problem in the product. Please do go to that process and check where this problem is occurring and fix that. That is exactly why the quality control measurements are instrumental for quality assurance to ensure that appropriate quality standards and operational definitions are used. So he would be able to, these quality control measurements will give eyes to the quality assurance guy. Otherwise, he was blind, he was trying his level best to find any flaws and problems, but now he has got eyes. The quality control measurements are exactly pointing him towards the defaulter process. So he can hunt down, he can get into that process and see where exactly the problem is rising from and then fix it. So this is the quality assurance. As far as quality control is concerned, this is the process of monitoring and recording results of executing the quality activities. It is not responsible for executing the quality activity. Results of the executing, meaning what? When an activity has finished, only then the product or the result would be checked. Why? To assess the performance and recommend necessary changes. Necessary changes could be many. It could instruct quality assurance to fix the problem. It could ask for a change request. It could ask for a defect repair. It could ask for a preventive or corrective action. So this is all the result of change request. So this is the brief definition of the three processes. Are you with me on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, quality management addresses the management of the project and the deliverable of the project. So both of these things have to be important. The management of the project is looking at the processes and auditing them. This is quality assurance. And the deliverable is quality control. It applies to all projects regardless of the nature of their deliverable. No matter if you are creating a document or a car, whatever the deliverable is, even if that is an intangible deliverable, there has to be a quality control and quality assurance. Quality measures and techniques are specific to the type of deliverable being produced by the product. Naturally, if you are checking a document, that would have a different measure or technique, and if you are checking a physical car or something, that would have a different thing. But that all depends what kind of quality measures and techniques you are using for what kind of project. Different approaches and measures could be used differently on different projects. So there is a vast usage of these tools and techniques. Failure to meet the quality requirements can have serious negative consequences to any or all of the project stakeholders. If you are not producing quality, that is normally the case with our Pakistani product, most of the things we get from the market, they are not up to any quality standard. And the stakeholder gets annoyed. So ultimately, you are not producing the desired result. Negative consequences: meeting customer requirements by overworking the project team may result in decreased profits and increased project risks. Employee attrition, errors, or rework. So you are trying to meet the customer requirements. You are unable to produce the quality. You are overworking your team, and naturally you are decreasing your profit. Actually, why did you not consider that beforehand when you designed the whole process? You should have considered the cost of quality into it. You did not, you planned for a poor quality and you increased your profits, and now when the quality customer is not going to accept your quality, you have ultimately to spend that more money on to increase of the quality, and ultimately you will be decreasing the profits. You will increase the risks. So why don't you think it before? Why don't you plan it in quality management when it is being planned? Then meeting project schedule objectives by rushing planned quality inspections may result in undetected error. You see, we all realize quality is important, but when it is a time for quality inspection or quality assurance things going on, we don't care. We say, okay, quick, do this inspection quickly. Give me the results. So when you rush the things, the quality is sacrificed. I'll give you the example of Nadra when we were actually, you know, data entering the whole population of Pakistan in the previous census. This problem happened. You see, it is always the pressure of time which is imposed on you, and no matter how efficiently you plan things, there is always a pressure from the top. So that was the time when we planned the whole thing because that was a huge data for each citizen of Pakistan. At least there were 5 or 6 pages of data that had to be entered for the whole population of Pakistan, and therefore we planned the whole thing to be done in 3 years. When it came actually to the execution of the work, we were given orders from the very top to do it in 6 months. Now, I am not against compressing the project schedule, but compressing it to ridiculous limits can really damage something. We did have all the quality assurance and quality control mechanisms built into the system for this 3-year planning. But when the plan was compressed by 6 times to 6 months, 6 times, can you just imagine? You are rushing everything. So what we did was we increased the workforce, we increased the working hours, we started working 3 shifts of 8 hours daily, and extra equipment was acquired, and many stations all over the country were started. More than 15,000 people were working at any one time on this job all over the country, and they were working in 3 shifts. And that's how we managed to do in 6 months. But the time which was supposed to be given to quality assurance and quality control was sacrificed ultimately. Although there were quality assurance people, quality control people in that team, but because everything was being rushed, so there was not enough time given for inspections and audits. And resultantly, you all must know that the ID cards which were produced and the data which was put into the database had so many flaws that even when the cards were issued to the people, there were wrong data available on the cards. And not only that, because we wanted to do the job fast, we gave a lot of incentive to those people who could work faster. So there was no mechanism of quality control invoked with this speed, and therefore a lot many data which was being entered was not checked. And the people who were entering the data, what they were doing, they were just interested to complete more data, and therefore they did not bother about putting in the right data. Rather, some of them were so naive that they started writing irrelevant things, abuses and things like that, and stories, and anything which came to their mind, they just kept punching it into the database, and it was never checked through the quality control. And ultimately, it was printed on the cards, and that was a pathetic situation when the last check which was to be carried out at before printing the cards was to clean the data. That was also removed due to the speed, and ultimately a big damage was happening. They had to start another mini project to clean the data. That project, another project of 3 months was done to clean the data, and for that new expenditure was done, everything was done, and still there were problems. Anyways, this was a situation which will normally occur due to compression or undue compression of your schedule. Right. Now let me explain the difference between quality and grade. What do you think? What is the difference between quality and grade? Are they same? Are they different things?
Sir, grade means good quality, best quality, worst quality.
Okay. If you read the very first
Like,
line, the very
yeah.
first line says quality and grade are not the same concepts. They have nothing in common. So this is not good, better quality or something like that. Quality is something else, grade is something else. Let me give you an example. You buy a telephone, a mobile set made in China, and that set has so many features, so many functions, which you never could find in any other phone in the world. It has got the cameras, two cameras, five cameras. It can accommodate 5 SIMs. It can have even radio or TV and this and that. Those features which even the largest giants in the industry are not providing. Your Chinese phone is providing you everything. So the excess of functionality is great, but each functionality in that mobile phone, how good that functionality is, like you see, you have camera, what kind of camera it is, how good this camera is. If it is a poor quality camera, then it does not matter that this function, in functionality, yes, it is, this phone might be the best in the world, but as far as the quality is concerned, none of its features are of any good quality or is comparable to anything. The telephone, I mean, voice quality is bad, the keys are not good enough, and everything is bad about it. So grade is the number of functions and features the product contain, and quality is how good each of those features is in comparison with the competitors, and how much it complies with the customer need. I'll tell one other thing also later on, and you would then be able to understand why Chinese phones are so commonly used. But basically, this is the difference between quality. It is not necessary if it is a high grade item, it will be a good quality item as well. And if it is a high quality item, for example, the Nokia phone with excellent quality voice and everything, reception, voice, everything, but it does not have a camera, it doesn't have any other features, you just can talk on the phone. That is, there is no other function whatsoever. We will call it a low grade, high quality item. A low grade, high quality item. So naturally, both these things we should be good. So we want to have a high quality, high grade thing, but at the same time, it might not really be possible sometimes. So according to the need of people and according to the market demand and all that, people provide sometimes in some places it is, people prefer to have high grade and low quality items. This is a strategy. This is a Chinese strategy. They have targeted those markets where people are more interested in pomp and show, where high credibility is a great quality. The phone which you get in more than 100,000 rupees, if you can get in just 5,000 rupees, so anybody can afford it. But at the same time, the phone which is worth 100,000 rupees might be able to survive you for next 3, 4, 5 years. But this low grade, high grade, low quality phone from China might be good enough for only 1 or 2 months. And it cannot be repaired also, because if you go and try to get it repaired, it will cost you more than 5,000 rupees, more than its cost. Therefore, it is a disposable phone. If it works, you use it. If it doesn't work, throw it in the bin. On the other hand, the expensive phone which you have, which is high quality, high grade, or even only high quality, that is going to take care of lot many other questions. You see, if you change a phone every month of 5,000 rupees, you have anyways spent 50,000 rupees in a year, and maybe 1 lakh rupees in 2 years, and 1,50,000 rupees in 3 years. On the other hand, if you would have bought a high quality, high grade item of 1 lakh rupees, it would have been even cheaper. But people don't realize that. People just want to enjoy for one odd month and then throw it out. So this is an example of high grade, low quality item. But naturally, we are not at all, giving any kind of preference to a low quality, low grade item. That would anyways be thrown out. Nobody will accept that kind of thing. As far as our project is concerned, we do want to have high quality, high grade in our project. We want to add as much functionality as is possible and demanded, required. And whatever functionality we are adding into the project, we want it to be of the highest quality, right? So we are targeting the high quality and high grade within our project. Then there is another thing which is called accuracy and precision. This is also to be understood from the quality point of view. We, in quality, check the correctness of the things. If you see how correct something is, that is the accuracy. And how much is it aligned to the requirement or to the target, that is the precision. So let me show you an example. If we look at this diagram, if accuracy is on this axis, on the x-axis, and precision is on the y-axis, you see, precision means how consistent you can make your products. If one product you produced is exactly very close to the next product you choose, you produce, and you're consistently making that product with that quality consistently, no matter it was a desired quality or not. But if you are consistently making, like, you are a football manufacturer in Sialkot, you are giving a consistent quality footballs, that means you are precise. But those footballs are not according to the international standard, so that is not accurate. You are precise but not accurate. The very first thing you need to do if you want to produce something according to the quality, first you need to be precise, and then you need to be accurate. So you might have heard about ISO certifications. There are a lot many companies who are ISO certified. What do? They don't ask them to become the world leaders suddenly. They ask them, like this company, the football company in Sialkot, when they will desire to become ISO certified, they will just be asked to document their processes. That's it. Document their processes. Because when they are producing the footballs without documenting the process, then every person, every team who are working on that job might be working from their own separate method. They are not following the same procedure. So one football coming out maybe of good quality, and one may not be of good quality. You are not producing the consistent quality product just because you are not having some procedures documented and followed. If you can do that, if you make bad footballs and you make a procedure to make bad footballs consistently, we will say you are precise. Yes, you have at least done your job of documenting, and you are now producing this quality of footballs consistently. We don't have to look twice. Every football is going to be of the same quality. Second question is, once you are consistent and you have procedures in your organization, now you have to continuously improve. You have to find how can I improve this quality, and then howsoever you can improve that quality, you document that procedure and apply that in your organization. Train your people according to that. So your consistency levels keep improving towards the required standard, towards the customer expectation, and ultimately if you meet the customer expectation, you are accurate. So you are precise and accurate. This is exactly what quality management wants you to be. Precise as well as accurate. But the journey starts from precision and ends with accuracy. Got my point?
Yes, sir. So, sir, basically it's consistency and then accuracy.
Exactly. So consistency is your precision, and accuracy is complying with the customer demand, quality standards which are being asked for. You are complying with that, exactly complying with that, which will actually serve as the user acceptance. The user will say, yes, it is what I want. That's it. Now, let me tell you one more thing. We keep saying good quality, best quality, all that. What is this good quality? What is quality? Okay, let me rephrase it. Um, is the good quality what I think is the good quality, or what you think is a good quality? What is good quality?
Sir, established standard.
Okay. Who establishes these standards?
So it could be any organization or government,
Okay.
any
Okay.
trustable.
Just listen to me. I am a football manufacturer in Pakistan. I have to provide this football to a local Pakistani school, right? From where this international organization comes into being? I am the supplier, that school is demanding the footballs, and whatever kind of football I am giving them, whether it is of any quality or not, for school it is acceptable. So what does the international standard body play their role here? There is no role of the international body.
No, sir, I didn't say international body. Like it could be any body. For that level, it could be any even the school itself. You know, who's buying the football, they will
Okay,
check
right.
themselves.
So standards are something else. We are not really talking about the standards here then. Then we are talking about the requirement of the customer. Whatever the requirement of the customer is, the quality requirements are included in it. And quality requirements are to be specified by the customer. And if you comply with that, then you are providing the good quality. If the customer is happy, that is a good quality. That is exactly what I wanted to say. There are no quality standards as such. This is all about
Sir,
the customer. Yes.
sir, one question. Okay, okay, I understand. Okay, if we go to the, for example, the international level,
Mm-hmm.
or uh, like as we were talking about grades,
Mm-hmm.
choose like grade A, grade B, you know. So on the other hand, we have like, for example, FIFA would definitely establish a standard for
Right.
their football. I understand it's again the customer demand, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but still there must be some standard for that. Like
Okay. What do you
so,
understand the standard? What is the standard? Is PMBOK a standard?
I would say yes, sir. Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it is. Are the standards mandatory?
not really, no.
Exactly, that is my point. Whichever body internationally tries to establish rules, they are just providing a guideline for measuring the quality, right? That is not mandatory for anyone. Now, if FIFA gives you a requirement, their requirement would include the quality requirement. They are free to say that you should have followed those standards. They make it mandatory for you, although they are not mandatory, but they make it mandatory for you as per their requirement. So you are not fulfilling the international standards, you are fulfilling the quality requirements of the customer. So this is not all about standards, this is about customer needs and expectations. Customer gives you the requirement what they want, and if you comply with whatever the customer wants, then it is good quality.
Okay, got it, sir.
I am not denying that it is the standard quality standards are there and not there. They are there. They are a good guidance. If somebody wants to follow those quality standards good enough, they should follow it. But they should not be taken as the customer requirement. They are not the customer requirement. You are just improving yourself, and if customer is happy, good enough. What if you are following the stringent standards internationally available, but you get a project from NASA and they say, to hell with the standard, we want even better quality. What will you do? You will comply their requirements. You will comply their quality standard, and that would be even beyond any quality standard given by any organization worldwide. The current standard, the international standard, is called 3 sigma, 6 sigma, and it is supposed to be the best quality. Nothing can be better than that. Do you know what is the standard being used by NASA? They have gone to 7 or 12 sigma in their quality. They demand 7 sigma, 8 sigma, 9 sigma, even 12 sigma. So international standards stand nowhere. They are good enough for our guidance. They're good for knowledge. They're good for enhancement and improvement. But I am tied with my customer, and my customer will demand what they want. The quality requirements are governed by the customer. Okay, Let us also talk about what is a quality requirement. Give me an example of a quality requirement.
Uh, Sir, it could be anything as we mentioned about footballs.
Mm-hmm.
Like a customer wants that this football can withstand this much PSI of pressure, for example.
Okay.
So that's a
I would say this is
customer.
a specification. This is not a standard. This is not quality. This is a specification. Comment on it.
Okay, but sir, if it can be a specification, but then what is quality?
That's exactly my question. Then what is quality? No?
If all the footballs are on the same, but
Okay. You are
but
close. You are close.
if all
Consistent.
the footballs
Naturally,
consistent, okay,
consistency. Now, how do you ensure consistency? You have to define, you have to define what? You have to define the acceptability limit, right? If you say it should be 2000 psi is the requirement, but what is the acceptable limit? Maybe 5 psi plus minus. Agreed or not? You see,
yes.
no matter if a thing is even created by a machine, no two items can ever be 100% consistent. This is a rule of nature. You cannot have 100% consistency anywhere in the universe. So you can define the closest they can be to be called consistent. So I say 2000 psi is my requirement, but naturally plus minus 5 psi is acceptable to me. If it is 2005, that I will accept it. If it is 1995, I will accept it, acceptable. But anything beyond these two limits is not acceptable. That would be out of quality. That is not my quality requirement. So defining the limits, acceptable limits is the quality, is the description of the quality. The definition of just 2000 psi is specification, is functional requirement. Got it or not?
Okay, sir. So, but sir, then quality could have more specifications, more than one specification.
Of course, every functional requirement will have a quality requirement attached with it. It should, because if it doesn't, then usually customer is unable to define that. Customer just wants, I want a football, it should have this much dia, this much psi, this colors and etc. All what he is defining is functional requirement. Now this is the responsibility of the project manager to clarify, sir, how much is acceptable to you. Even if it is the color, it should be of red color. Well, red color has many shades. If I give you red color, you will say this is not what I wanted. So tell me which shades are acceptable to you. So we define that on a palette that from this to this is acceptable. So this is my limit defined. Thickness of the football, it should be 5 millimeter thick. So how much is acceptable if it is not 5 millimeter thick? You say, okay, I can accept 0.001 millimeter plus or minus. It should be reasonable.
So,
Yes,
sir, again, these are specifications.
these are the specifications.
How are
Yes,
how are we going to define quality out of all these things? Like,
this is the
okay, I understand these are
If you are being consistent, you are consistent in complying with the range you have been provided to you, then your product will automatically be consistent. All the footballs will look like same. All the footballs, if tested, will give the same quality results which we have defined in our quality standards.
So that means, sir, compliance with the specification
Yes,
is quality.
yes, of course, and this will give you precision. This will give you precision. And then, okay, let us say that we were able to produce the footballs, but the PSI they could accommodate was plus minus 10. I am still precise, I am still consistent that all my footballs are plus minus 10, but this is still not according to the requirement of the customer. So I have to improve the quality, reduce the margin, and then start producing footballs according to the expected standard. Now, once I comply with this order and I complete it, the next order I get is they want even more stringent level. They say we can't afford more than half PSI plus minus. So this time I have to further enhance and improve my processes and ultimately to produce that quality. But naturally, to produce till that quality, I will need special equipment, and the price of quality will increase the total cost. As you improve the quality, your cost increases. You see, there is a person who is making chapatis, and he is just doing it with approximation. But now you want a certain quality. The chapati should not exceed this size, should not be less than this size. Now every chapati comes out is being checked for that. That means all those chapatis we are not going to be, not according to that standard, will be rejected. And therefore only consistent result will go out. So we will have to implement certain measures as if all the chapatis before they are made or while they are made, they remain within that limit. That would be quality assurance. How to do that? Maybe I have to introduce a machine to ensure that this size does not exceed. You understand this point? So here we applied quality control as well as quality assurance to the same thing. So
Yes.
every product should have a quality management plan, no matter it is operations or it is project. Project teams should follow the quality management plan and should have data to demonstrate the compliance. In the context of achieving ISO compatibility, modern quality management approaches seek to minimize variation. Minimize variation means what? You are being consistent. And to deliver results that may meet defined requirements. That is exactly what ISO wants. And ISO is a standard. And our customer actually is going to define those limits. ISO just provides you a broad guideline, as PMBOK provides you a broad guideline. Anyways, this journey of quality actually started. Um, it's a long story. Naturally, always people had been quality conscious, but it all depends upon the times you are living in. You see, I'll give you a very basic theory. It is the theory of supply and demand. If there is a lot of demand and you have less supply, then whatever you make will be sold because people want that. Okay? They won't, they won't be choosy about it. If there is a demand of 2,000 items in the market and there are only 50 available, no matter how bad they feel about it, they won't really bother about it. So many people, if you are not going to buy it, somebody else is going to buy it. So if the supply is less and demand is high, the quality standards are very vague. But when supply is more than demand, then the customer has a choice to pick the better one out of it. You got my point? So that is exactly what happened. This has been happening throughout the history, that sometimes people have become more quality conscious, sometimes the quality standards go down. But wars normally mark the change in society. Second World War was a big example. What happened was that during the war, all the able males were sent to the war. And naturally, the people who were left were old, ladies and the children. So whatever the industry or factory or whatever was going on in the country, that came almost to a halt, almost to a halt. But the demand of the people was high in that time. So that was a time when people were hungry, people did not have the resources, did not have the things, and anything was acceptable for them. If you are hungry and you don't get a hot chapati, what does it matter you? You are hungry, you are dying of hunger, you will eat anything and everything, no matter if it is a 10 days old chapati or what. But when you have got a lot of money and you are not hungry and a lot of resources are available, then you will go to a hotel and you will ask for a chapati, and if the chapati is not hot, maybe you will reject it and you will leave the hotel and go to another one, and there you will order another food. And there also, if the chapati is not exactly round, you will say, what is this quality? You will leave it. But that is only when you are well fed. So it is the matter of demand and supply. After the Second World War, especially during Second World War, the people who were fighting the war, actually they were working on a very fast pace, because war was something matter of life and death. So they had to take precedence over their enemy. They had to invent things faster than their enemy. Atomic bombs were created in that time. Tanks and planes were created in that time. All the progression which happens in the country, in the world, actually happens mostly due to war. In the time of the war, the maximum progression happens. But on the other hand, as far as the country is concerned, or the living is concerned, their standards go down. So once the war finishes, the Second World War finished, what happened? All these people went back to their work. They were highly proficient, and there was a high demand in the market of good things to be produced, and there was no supply there. So when they got back to their businesses, they created huge supply line, and gradually the trend, the quality requirements of the people started changing, and they became more quality conscious. Americans, they focused on the quantity, not the quality. But later when people started demanding quality, well, they started rejecting the things. What happened was that they said, okay, let's implement some system that the requirements of the people are met and no bad item goes to the market. So what they did was this implemented quality control, and they started rejecting bad items, and only good items used to go to the people. Still people were not really very satisfied. On the other hand, the loss which was caused due to the bad items being rejected and thrown started raising. That was a time there were two people, Deming and Juran. They were Americans. They tried to tell them, well, this is not the solution to it, but Americans did not listen. Japan was rising. Japan was, naturally they were always in a state of war after the atomic explosion, because they wanted to progress, and they were working on war footing to compete with the whole world. So they uh, created and produced a lot of talent in themselves, and they started thinking on these kind of questions. And when they heard the theories of Deming and Duran, they actually hired them as consultants. And The quality revolution started from Japan, and the fathers of this quality revolution were Deming and Juran. They gave them the concept of continuous improvement, decreasing the cost of quality. Continuous improvement was that, first of all, it is not just the matter of inspection. If you inspect, you reject. And when you reject, there is a lot of wastage. Although they did not say that quality control should not be there, they emphasized on the need of quality assurance, as if there is less number of rejection and less investment in quality control. Quality control will still be there, but quality assurance was inducted into the philosophy of quality. And they also gave the idea that no matter how much you improve a process, there is always an infinite possibility to further improve it, and that is called continuous improvement. And then they also gave the philosophy of zero defect, and that zero defect was that there is no limit to, you can't specify how much is not acceptable. Anything bad is not acceptable. There should be no defect whatsoever. Although everybody knows that ideal machine is not possible, perfection is not possible, but aiming for perfection resulted in Japanese quality was raised head and bound above any other quality. Although they could not have achieved the zero defect, but at least they crossed the level which the other countries were following. Much beyond them, they were able to produce their quality. So this zero defect philosophy was also given by them. Then there were so many Japanese scientists, social scientists, who actually adopted, who were students of Deming and Juran, like, we have Ishikawa, we have a lot many others, and they worked more on these areas. Crosby also worked on the degrees of quality and zero defect and so on and so forth. So there are a number of philosophies, and they are still working on. Americans have countered this zero defect thing because they realized that their quality is no match to the Japanese quality. So they dug out what do they say. They knew that Japanese talk about zero defect, and they laughed about it. They said, oh, how is it possible? But still, they were amazed at the progress of the Japanese with what they had made. Therefore, they researched and they came up with the philosophy of Six Sigma. Six Sigma is an American approach. And in Six Sigma, I'll explain later, Six Sigma would actually ensure lesser defects. I would say almost negligible, but not zero naturally, but almost negligible defects. And that's how Americans also improve their quality. So as we have just talked about, there are some important considerations in quality. The top thing is the customer satisfaction. The customer quality requirements are to be fulfilled. Customer has to be satisfied. His demand has to be met. So you have to be understanding, managing and influencing needs so that the customer expectations are met or exceeded. You are definitely going to meet the customer expectations. But if you can keep a safe margin and exceed it a bit, only I'm saying a bit, a little more than what the customer wants, then customer will have no questions whatsoever. But remember, if you know, give much more than what the customer asked for, that is called gold plating, and gold plating will cost you more, and this is a bad practice. Customer did not ask for that. You gave him double the quality. Customer will be happy, but you will have to pay from your own pocket. So gold plating is not a good idea. But what I just said, a little more than what the customer requires, that is called value addition. Value addition is okay, a little more, but not double more or much more. This much more is called gold plating, and this is not allowed. Then the concept of prevention over inspection. What does that indicate? It indicates more emphasis on quality assurance than quality control. Prevent the problems from happening rather than rejecting them in inspection all the time. Management responsibility. Quality will only improve if the top level management wants it to improve, because they have to invest in it. If they are not ready to invest in it and they just talk a lot about quality, that is not going to bring your quality up. So management should be directly responsible, should have a direct commitment towards quality, and then an organization can enhance and improve their quality. Then is a continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is for any process, no matter it is a project or operation or whatever, every process, if we want to continuously improve it, you have to run it through a cycle. And that is called plan, do, check and act. You plan for that process, you work according to that process, you do it, then you check it, and then you apply the corrections and you improve it. This is act cycle where you improve it. In one cycle, some improvement will be there definitely. If you repeat this cycle, some more improvement will be there, and this will continue happening. But do not expect the same level of improvement you got in the first instance. Every time the improvement will be reduced. Why? Because when the system is very bad, you can improve it a lot. When a system is little bad, the improvement margin would be much lesser. But one thing is certain, that this improvement can be infinite in nature. You have to decide how much do you want to improve, because there might be a negligible increase in improvement if you are already very good. So do you want to invest in that or not? So that is continuous improvement. And the last but not the least is the cost of quality. And I did mention earlier, this is the combination of cost of good quality and cost of poor quality. Cost of good quality is also called cost of conformance, and cost of poor quality is also called cost of non-conformance. We'll talk about it. So as far as the customer satisfaction is concerned, as we said, this requires a combination of conformance to the requirements. Whatever the customer wants, that must be supplied, and moreover fitness for use. The item you are producing, whatever it is supposed to do, does it do that? If it is a container which is required to hold the water, and if you put water in it, it leaks out, that does not, it is not fit for use. So number one, it must be conform to the requirement. Maybe, it does conform, the size of the container and everything is in accordance with the conformance to the requirement, but it leaks, so it is not fit for use. So both of these requirements have to be fulfilled as far as the customer requirements are concerned. Plan, check, do and act, I have already explained. Let me talk about total quality. What is total quality? Total quality is, no, we did talk about the zero defect. Total quality is more than that. It is not only the product you are producing must be on zero quality or Six Sigma or whatever, but the whole system in which the thing exists. Like if you are producing something in a factory, it is not only the product, but the whole factory and the environment around it. The people, the lawns and the building and everything. Everything should be of the tip-top quality. This is called total quality management. So this actually impacts your output. Six Sigma, they have actually taken it on from the statistical method of the standard curves. You also understand as a bell curve, and in a bell curve there are 3 deviations on the positive side and 3 deviations on the negative side, but this gives you an accuracy of not more than 99.74% in the best of the best cases. This was the quality which Americans used to follow. But when they saw the Japanese thing going on, they reevaluated everything and they found that 0.26% which is being rejected, and it is thought acceptable that this much is the rejection, that is okay, that actually tantamounts to a lot of rejection. If I must tell you, if you produce a million item, 0.26% of that would be about 60,000 items being rejected. 60,000 items in a million, which otherwise looks like nothing, but Japanese worked on it and they said it should be zero. So there is a lot of difference between 0 and 60,000. Although Japanese may not have met the zero figure, but 0 and 60,000 is a big difference. And if you can save this 60,000 from rejection, then probably the things can drastically improve and the cost can be reduced. So uh, Americans researched on theoretically that if we are working on 3 deviations plus and 3 minus, that comes out to be 3 sigma. What if we go for 4 sigma? Because to explore those 0.26%. So when they calculated 4 sigma, it came out to be the rejection rate in a million came out to be about 12,000. Still it was a big figure. When they went on to 5 sigma, it came out to be even few hundred, but still it was a big figure. 6 sigma gave them an ideal figure, which they adopted. And that was against a million, they got a rejection of 3.4, which is almost very close to zero. So they made it a standard. This is called 6 sigma. 6 deviations on the right and 6 deviations on the left. This is 6 sigma. And later on, there is yet another philosophy which came up in production, that is called Lean Six Sigma. That is another concept. Lean is another concept of manufacturing in which you reduce the waste and you effectively work towards creating something. So they introduced Lean Six Sigma. Currently, Lean Six Sigma is the kind of a accepted way of life, and there is a lot of certifications going on. There is Six Sigma Black Belt is there. There's a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, which is even better than Six Sigma. These are some of the process improvement models which are in vogue. Malcolm Bridge, very famous for all industry, especially manufacturing. OPM3 is PMI, Organizational Project Management Maturity Model. Capability Maturity Model integrated CMMI. You might have heard the same organization which created ISO, they created CMMI. ISO was a standard. Capability Maturity Model is this model is for maturity, right? So if a standard ISO or PMBOK, they address only the good practices and they are not mandatory. The maturity models, they actually are how to improve the organization. They indicate the best practices, and if you have to rise above the good practices and you have to follow best practices, you will compete with others. So this will give you how to compete with others, how to adopt best practices, and your organization will be measured through this maturity model, assessed through this maturity model, and then you will be able to improve. And we already talked about the management responsibility. Sorry, give me a minute. I'll fix that. Right, any questions?
No, sir, it's going fine for now.
Asad, what about you? Are you getting me? Is it okay? Okay, tell me when you can see the screen.
Yes, I can see now continuous improvement.
Okay. Can you see the this summary diagram of the project quality management overview? So
Yes,
these are the three processes which we talked about. Quality, plan quality management, all the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs are listed here. Perform quality assurance, similarly control quality. So all three, this is the overall summary of it. And we are going to take on each one of them one by one. So we know what is plan quality management. This is the process which identifies the quality requirements. And the key benefit is it provides us the guidance for creating the quality assurance and quality control things and everything, how to manage and validate throughout the life of the project. Quality management plan is a component of project management plan. Naturally, it describes how the organization's quality policies will be implemented. It describes how the project management team plans to meet the quality requirements set off for the project, and project costs will be planned and structured. Plan quality management process includes what? So the important thing here is the tools and techniques only. Rest everything you know. Project management plan is required. Stakeholder register is required because you are going to be talking to those stakeholders for quality purposes, for quality requirement. Risk register must also be considered. Requirement documentation should also be there. But all are the requirements which you have identified already, and enterprise control vectors and process assets. And what we are trying to create is a quality management plan, process management plan, process improvement plan, quality metrics, quality checklists, and product documents. Now look at it. Quality management plan is the thing which includes the rules and guidelines about the quality assurance and quality control. Process improvement plan tells us how to make procedures, how to enhance them, improve them, find things like that. Quality metrics are the scales through which you will measure the quality, because sensitive equipment might be required. You are talking about 0.001 millimeter. So how to measure that? You can't measure that with normal equipment. You have to have special equipment for those things, and those metrics have to be provided. And a complete list, a checklist of all the quality features which have to be checked and inspected must also be created. Now, how do you do that? Each each quality feature which you are supposed to include, you have to carry out the cost benefit analysis of that. And in chapter of cost management, we studied what is cost benefit analysis. We said we do the payback period, net present value and all that. So you will make that decision here whether it is feasible to introduce this quality or we should not do it. So if we should not do it, maybe we should not do the contract because customer wants it to be done that way. If it is not worthy for us, no, it is not saving us any money. We are not getting any profits of the project. If we do this quality feature, then probably we should not do it. Or if we do it, if we find it feasible, then it is decided that it will be done. Cost of quality, I'll show you. Let me straight away jump to the cost of quality and I'll keep showing you all these things. Look at this, cost of quality. As I said, cost of conformance and cost of non-conformance. Cost of conformance is cost of good quality, cost of non-conformance is cost of poor quality. Even in cost of conformance, we have got two things. One is the prevention cost and the appraisal cost. Cost of conformance means how are you going to ensure that problems do not occur? Naturally, these are those activities or those actions we take to either prevent the cost or we get experts out of somewhere to check us, to appraise us. So prevention cost might be, training your people, documenting your procedures, getting the ISO certification, getting the sensitive equipment for measurements and all that. And time to do it right. The things should be done just in time, the right time they should be done most effectively. This all is the prevention cost. Appraisal cost is that you hire some resources, you do the testing, there's a destructive testing, the items will be naturally lost. If you order some missiles coming from some other country, you just can't accept them that they are okay. You have to fire some of them to see if they really work. But whatever you fire is wasted. But that at least is a quality check. So you have to do some kind of appraisal, and some money will be spent in that. And naturally, inspections also will cost. On the other hand, if you invest in the prevention and appraisal cost, that will greatly reduce your quality control effort. But I don't say that you do not do the quality control. Quality control is important in its own place. You see, if you are not doing quality assurance, and you are only doing quality control very religiously, your customers will not get anything wrong, but you will have a large rejection level, which will cause you the loss. On the other hand, if we have a lot of quality assurance and no quality control, what will happen? Although you are doing your best not to commit any mistakes, but even if one single item goes out from the factory and reaches the customer which is not according to the quality, your repo will be completely tarnished. Therefore, you can't remove quality control completely. But I do understand that if I have improved my quality assurance, then quality control effort will be now required less. I won't need to hire 200 people for checking each and every item. Now I can do sample checking and things like that. And lesser people can do the job because now the defects are not really uh, expected. Cost of non-conformance includes two kinds of costs: internal failure and external failure. Internal failure is those mistakes which have been uh, found out internally in the quality control process, and they caused a loss due to reworking, or they were scrapped. So this is the internal failure because this did not affect our customer or repo. External failure cost is that when a wrong item goes into the hand of the customer. So at that stage, what will happen? You may have the liabilities, you may have to cover the warranty, you may lose the business altogether. Customer may be so angry. So this is the cost of quality, and you have to strike a balance in it. You can't spend all the money on cost of conformance or all the money on non-conformance. You have to strike some kind of balance, and that balance could be defined by the organization itself. But these things should be included, and a balance should be struck. Then there are 7 basic quality tools which I have been bundled together, and these are cause and effect diagram. Cause and effect diagram is a kind of mechanism by which when a mistake occurs, then you can follow it backwards into the process from where this mistake has occurred. So we do have a cause, we do have an effect, and we are trying to find the cause. We travel backwards. The cause and effect diagram, flow charts, you all must be aware of. Check sheets or checklists, we are aware of. Pareto diagrams are perpendicular bars. These are the charts with perpendicular bars. You see, in scheduling we had the horizontal bars as timelines. If the bars are perpendicular, as we have studied in resource management, or for that matter scheduling, when we were leveling the resources, this, this, the perpendicular bars were the uh, Pareto diagram. Histograms and Pareto diagrams I'll explain. They are the same thing. Control charts, I defined there has to be an upper and lower limit. So control chart is a diagram which monitors that the items being produced are within the two control limits. And then there is a scatter diagram. Scatter diagram is a simple XY graph on which you plot your points of against two variables, and a scatter is formed. So this is the diagrammatical layout of all these things. Cause and effect diagram will look something like this, flow charts, check sheets, and so on and so forth. Let me take them one by one. Cause and effect diagram is also called Ishikawa diagram because a student of Deming, Ishikawa from Japan, he actually created it. And yet another name for this process, this diagram is fishbone diagram. If you look at it, it looks like a fish. There is the backbone, and on it there are other smaller bones attached to it. So if the backbone is pointing towards the major defect, then the cause, all the other bones might be one of those bones could be the cause of it. So if I know that, I will try to find the problem in various processes or wherever it is, and I'll try to home into that. And each bone will have further smaller bones attached to it, and I will keep hunting it down till I reach the required level. This is an example in the hotel reservation system. We have found that this is whatever the problem was, it is due to the environment. In environment, there were three things which were affecting: noise and distraction, lightning, or required formal footing. Which exactly is causing the problem? I would hunt it down. Maybe if it was lightning, it was due to the glare from the overhead halogen. When I found out why there was glare, I found out that there was no filter or screen installed. So once you follow this path and find the actual reason for the problem, you can easily fix that. If there are no filters on the screens, you can install the filters and the problem will be over. So we found the cause starting from the effect. Flowcharts, I hope you all understand. We have got boxes connected of the processes, and we have got decision points in it, and we can create a flow from start to end of any process. Then we have got check sheets. Check sheets, we are already aware what a check sheet or checklist may look like. Histogram. Now histogram is interesting because uh, you see, in your system you found 100 faults. You said, okay, there are 100 faults. Let us analyze these faults. When you categorize them, there were 22 faults due to insufficient time. There were 3 faults due to management direction, and so on and so forth. So you created a histogram of these horizontal bars exactly according to their size, how many faults were there. And that way, this diagram started depicting apparently very visually that the biggest problem was process documentation. The next biggest problem was insufficient time, and so on and so forth. So this is histogram, and we can decide based on this also what should we do and how we should go about it. At least it visually depicts everything. But Pareto diagram is a relative of the histodiagram. It is created in such a way that the histogram is reordered in such a way that the highest number of problems comes first, then the next highest, then the next highest, and therefore there were total how many? 74 problems were there. So all the 74 problems are covered here. 30 problems of process documentation, 22 of insufficient time, and you can see there is a cumulative total running on top. This cumulative shows that there are 74 problems, and this is the distribution, and you can see the highest problem is 30, then 22, 16, 3 and 3. Now looking at this diagram, Pareto suggests that we must resolve the biggest problem first, because if we can resolve that problem, 30 items will be automatically corrected to that. If I can do the cause effect and hunt down the problem and fix that, then the process documentation will no more have this problem, and our total problems, which were 74, will suddenly reduce to just 44. Then address the next problem, insufficient time. And if we reduce those 22 also, then we are just down to 22. 44, we subtracted 22. So we get 22 columns. So we can have quick success, number one, and we can, focus on the most important priority. This is what the Pareto diagram says. If you can, the cumulative figures you have got here, if you can draw a graph from it, that will show that the biggest improvement happens in the beginning and the slowest improvement happens in the end. So this was Pareto diagram. Naturally, you need to study it in more detail if you really want to learn more about it. Then we have the control charts. Control chart is a graphical display in which the control, say you said 2000 psi. 2000 psi is my mean. This is the required desired level of the specification. We said 5 units are plus and 5 units minus. The plus 5 is my upper control limit, minus 5 is my lower control limit. So between the mean and the next control limit, we can divide it into further 3 parts. Now the very interesting thing, every item being produced is being checked and is plotted within this diagram. So what is happening is, if anything is rejected, that would not be part of this diagram because that is anyways rejected. But those items which are accepted, even they are plotted here, and this shows us a trend that we are remaining within the limit and when we are going to the extremes. And if we are going to the extreme, we must know that there is some problem occurring, although it has not yet occurred, but there might be a possibility of a problem occurring. So between the UCL and lower limit, there could be all the accepted items. But out of these accepted items, how the trend can be predicted, there is a rule of 7. Rule of 7 is that because these things have to be random, they cannot form a shape. This graph cannot be a straight line. Because if it is a straight line, that shows a trend that it is going to go out of the range after some time. If it is an oblique line, starts from here and goes up there, that means it is going to go out of limit. So it indicates that. So the points have to be random. The simple rule is, if 7 points occur on the positives upper control limit side, or 7 points consecutively occur on the negative control limit, then we must understand that there is going to be a problem. Why? You see, I have a printing press which is in immaculate condition. It is new and naturally it is made up of steel and all that. It cannot be perfect because there are moving parts and there is a play in the moving parts, and to accommodate that play in allowable limits, in the control limits, they have adjusted them with some screws. So I do understand that the print which will be printed on the paper would be, might be 0.001 millimeter right or left, but that would be treated as acceptable. So when I start running that printing press, my everything is of good quality, it is within the range. Then suddenly I find that all the readings are going towards the positive side. Like, a print was 0.0001, then another print was 0.0002, 0.0003, and if 7 points are occurring in the same range and there's nothing going on the negative side, that means my machine has got a play on that side. Some screw has gone loose, and if I don't fix it now, this is going to go out of control. So even before the problem has happened or occurred, we can fix that. This is a quality control measurement which is required by quality assurance, and that can predict a problem even before it occurs, and then it can find it through the cause effect diagram, hunt it down and improve it. Then is a scatter diagram. Scatter diagram is a very simple thing. Scatter diagram is like, XY graph, two variables, you want to see a relationship between them. So if one variable increases, does it affect the other variable? So if you can plot them, all the points of varying degrees of x and y on a graph, you will see a scatter diagram. Scatter diagram is some dot here, some dot there. If they form a line or a pattern, then it shows some kind of relationship between two variables. If it is a scatter, then there is no relationship between two factors. So this also may indicate, like just like the control limit, that if there is a pattern forming, that might be dangerous. Okay, next tool is the benchmarking. Benchmarking, as normally people understand, or uh, they say it is, they call benchmarking as something which is what do you call it, comparison with some standard. Again, wrong. It is not comparison with some standard. Benchmark, remember my word, mark my words. Benchmarking is always with your competitors. You benchmark yourself against your competitors and see where do you stand, who is the best, and where do you stand. And if you want to improve, how much will you have to improve, and whom do you want to beat? So you will improve accordingly. So you will establish your strategy accordingly. So benchmarking involves comparing actual or planned project practices to those of comparable projects. So as if we can include some best practices or generate ideas for improvement. So this is for continuous improvement purposes, benchmarking is required. Design of experiments is another method in which it is called DOE. It is a statistical method. If a cake can be made by 10 different ways, we must identify the features or the variables in the making of a cake. Say it is the dough which matters, it is the heating which matters, it is the time we cook that matters, and so on and so forth. If these are the three, and maybe the container in which we make the cake. So all these variables would be tested in an experiment. We will say, okay, we will use this combination of a round container at 25 degrees for this much time with this dough. This is the result, and then you can make a number of experiments, and you do all those experiments and make cake with every one of those methods, and then you show this cake to people and ask them which is the better one, and the best one, which gets voted the best, is the method which becomes the ultimate recipe for that thing. This is called the design for experiments. Then statistical sampling. Naturally, if there is a millions of items to be checked, you can't uh, check each one of them. So you select a statistical sample. Size is determined normally beforehand, and that sample only is checked later. Additional quality planning things could be, brainstorming, force field analysis, nominal group techniques, quality management and control techniques, and all that. There could be many things. And meetings is a great tool. And ultimately, you come up with a quality management plan, your process improvement plan, quality metrics, quality checklist, and the project documents. Then you go on to the quality assurance. In quality assurance, the interesting part is that quality assurance is going to use all the tools which have been mentioned in quality management and quality control. All the tools are applied here. Why? Because there are a lot many things which we just talked about which directly relate to quality assurance. And there are a lot many things which are relate to the measurement of the controls. And those measurements are ultimately going to come to quality assurance. And therefore, it must know how to use those tools. So all those tools we have studied in quality management plan development, and all those tools we will study in quality control are all part of quality assurance. So quality management plan and process improvement plan is input. Quality metrics and quality control. Quality metrics are what? Quality metrics are the measurement mechanisms for the processes. These are here, and quality metrics for the deliverable would go to the quality control. and quality control is sending us the measurements. So those measurements are to be audited here, checked here, and used here for our process improvement process. Project documents will be required. So here we are using quality audits. Quality audit is and process analysis. These are the two tools specific to quality assurance. Quality audit, as you do understand, that assurance is done through audits, and there is a mechanism how to do the audits. Then process analysis. This is the first time we are going to X-ray every process. We are going to autopsy every process. We are going to go into the depth of every process, whether it is properly written, documented, can be improved or not. So process analysis is the process to be done here. If we find something to be corrected, change request will be moved. Project management plan, project documents, and organization processes are updated from here. So all those tools which we have already studied, these tools are applied here. Last but not the least is the quality control. In quality control, naturally, this is the last process, and naturally all the things are coming here. The project plan is coming here. Quality metrics are coming here. Quality checklist is coming here. And from execution, we are getting the work performance data like any other control gets it. Approved change request is coming from, these are those changes which have been already approved by integrated chain control. They may have been moved by anyone, but they have been approved, and a copy of these approved change requests are coming to quality control, as if quality control can review these approved changes and validate them. You can see in tools and techniques, fourth point, approved change request review. So those change requests which we have received in input from integrated change control will be reviewed here in tools and techniques and will be validated in output, point number 2. Then we have deliverables. What do we do with the deliverable? We actually do a lot with the deliverable here. We do the inspection with the deliverable. And as a result, we either accept or reject it. So if there is a problem with the deliverable, that would be a change request move. And if it is accepted, then it is verified deliverable, point number 3 in output. The deliverable is verified. And we also, while we are checking the deliverable, if the number of deliverables is too big, then we resort to statistical sampling. You see, we have got a biscuit factory and they've got a million boxes made and they are going to be ready to be shipped to the market. So do we open each and every box to check the quality? No, we don't. We will just check some samples at random, and based on that we will pass the lot. As a result, we will have the quality control measurements, as we said, which are going where? They are going to the quality assurance. Validated changes are going to the integrated change control. Verified deliverables are going to validate scope, as if it can be, again further inspected, and the user acceptance can be carried out and it can become an accepted deliverable. Work performance information, which is created because the work performance data was received here and we have analyzed it. The work performance information will go to monitor and control project work, because all the work performance information goes there. Change request goes to integrated change control, because all the change requests go to integrated change control. And resultantly, project management plan, documents and process assets may be updated. So this is all about the quality, and there will be just a repetition of the diagrams and things. If you want to look at it, I will just flash them through. This is a cause effect diagram. All those tools are used here. That's why they are again shown here. Control chart, flow chart, Pareto diagram, everything. If you look back here, this is the 3 deviations shown, +3 and -3. If we follow +1 and -1, which is called 1 sigma, we will have an accuracy of 68.26%. If we follow +2 -2, that is 2 sigma, the accuracy is 95.46. If we follow +-3, 3 sigma, that is 99.73. So although it seems like that the tails of this bell curve on the positive and negative side are touching the base, but actually they are not touching the base. They are continuing infinitely. And beyond that, beyond 3 is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 6 sigma is the point where we get 3.4 defects in a million. And even as the NASA uses 7 sigma, 8 sigma, 9 sigma, 12 sigma, so that would be much more accurate. 1 out of zillions or something like that, or even better than that. So if that kind of accuracy is required, then probably we have to raise the standard. Right, that's it for today. Any questions?
No, sir, it's pretty clear.
Okay, wonderful. Asad, you have been very, very silent today. Any questions or any confirmations or comments? Okay, if there is nothing more to say, then I'll call it a day. And tomorrow we are meeting at 8:30
Sir,
Pakistan.
no, sir, 8:30 UAE time.
Your time. So, my time will be 9:30.
Yes, 9:30, sir.
Right. Right. So tomorrow your time 8:30, my time 9:30. We will meet for 1.5 hours, and that we will continue for remaining whatever time is left for us. Thank you very much, and take care, please. See you tomorrow.